Hello.
Hey. Hey.
Oh, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? Let me turn my video on. I'm not really sure if I was supposed to like hold a time spot or anything, or does it just start at 2?
Nope, it just starts at 2. That's it.
Okay.
We're going to give everybody just a few more minutes to log on, and then we will start the meeting.
Okay.
Is there a meeting password? I think it's advising.
Okay.
Hey. Question. How? Okay. All right. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. It's 2:03. We're trying to keep it to like an hour, so I'm going to just go ahead and get things started. If y'all have questions while we're going through, just put them in the chat, and when we get to the questions part, I'll just try to go over the questions that are in the chat later. And if I have time to look at them while we're going, I will, but if not, then once we get to the end, I'll just look in the chat box and see what questions we got. If you have something personal, you can always just email it to me. But other than that, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I think we have 30 people here so far. So this is our first group advising. We're just gonna kind of go over the basic stuff. If you already know some of this information, that's okay. It's not gonna hurt you to hear it again. If you are new or you're a freshman or sophomore, you might be hearing this information for the first time. So I apologize, some of you might be a little bit more advanced, might know a little bit more, but some people that are in the meeting are gonna be a little bit younger and they may not know all of this information. Hopefully you'll get something out of it. So this is my fake office. That's my Bitmoji. I've had a lot of experience creating Bitmoji classrooms lately. I created all of my mom's Bitmoji classrooms for Schoology. And I am becoming a Schoology expert, even though I'm not teaching high school anymore. So a little bit about myself. I'm not married. I'm 28. I have no kids, but that's okay. I have 2 degrees and I own my own house and I have 2 dogs. So I have 2 miniature poodles. One is 4 and one is 2, and their names are Draco and Ollivander. Draco like Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter, not like the gun. I get asked that a lot. No, not named after a semi-automatic pistol, but thanks for asking. I got my bachelor's degree from the University of Southern Mississippi, and I majored in history and minored in psychology. And then my master's is in higher education administration and student affairs. And I also got that from the University of Southern Mississippi. And I'm currently working on my doctorate in higher and adult education here at the University of Memphis. So I have about a year and a half left to go on that program before I get my doctorate degree. So here's hoping it goes by quickly because I'm a little tired at this point, but it's okay. So how do you contact me? Well, you can see I'm in my office, mostly just because my internet has not been working very well. Thank you, Comcast. And so I wanted to make sure that we had a good connection. So I decided to come up to the office to be able to make sure that you could all see me and hear me and that kind of thing. If the campus is reopened, you can always come by Ball Hall 202. But for right now, the best way to get in touch with me is to email me. So you can email me at jsnobles, that's N-O-B-L-E-S, @memphis.edu. A lot of you don't do this, but make sure that you always email from your email account. And the reason for that is because, 1, it does tell us your first and last name, which makes it easier for us to know who you are. 2, the University of Memphis email accounts are on a secure server. So if I email from my Memphis account to your Memphis account, I know that it's a strong connection and that there's very little chance of that confidential information being stolen. However, if you're emailing me from an iCloud account or AOL account, something like that, then I know that it's secure and I can't feel comfortable sending you certain information via email, not knowing if you're on a secure server. So if you could always just email me from your email account, that would be really great. Plus, that's where I'm gonna send your stuff. Anytime I feel like I need to reach out to you and email you, it's always gonna go to your email account. Also, always make sure to include your name and your ID number. So your UUID. So that's gonna be like U00123456. Make sure to include that, 1, because it really helps me out. It cuts down on having to look you up in a different system and make sure that I have the right person. Also, some of you have really common names. So say your name is Sarah Smith, just for example. There may be 40 or 50 Sarah Smiths out there. So I wanna make sure that I'm emailing the right one. Not too long ago, there's a student, who emailed me, and we went to look in the system and there were 30 people that had the exact same name. So we want to make sure that we're always talking to the right person. That's for your benefit and my benefit. I don't want to send the wrong information out to the wrong person, and you don't want somebody else getting your information. So if you can just include your ID number, that would be great, and that would help me respond to you faster. You can always call our office. Even though we're not in the office right now, we are still checking our phone. So that's 901-678-2377. If you call that number and you leave us a message, we're still checking the answer machine. Somebody's not going to be here to answer the phone, but you can leave a message and we will call you back. Okay, so when should I not contact my advisor? Now, I just want to preface this by saying this is just to say that we are not always a one-stop shop like we want to be. There are some things that we just can't answer. For example, financial aid, tuition prices, questions about your Tiger Express balances, etc. We don't have that information and we can't find it out. That is for your benefit because we don't need to be all up in your finances. So the office who controls that, if it's financial aid, it's financial aid. If it's about a balance or Tiger Express, you're going to need to talk to University and Student Business Services office. So always contact them about those questions. If it's a scholarship question, you can contact the scholarships office. And they, if you call one of these offices though, say you call financial aid, but you need to talk to University and Student Business Services, they will transfer you to that office. So don't worry about that. To ask about the contact information for a different department. If you need to find the contact information for a different department, it's really simple. All you need to do is go to, I'm going to show you how to do it. Go to memphis.edu, click on the search icon, and search for whatever department you're looking for. So say you want to know about the sociology department. You just put in sociology department, Department of Sociology, contact us. There's their contact information. There's the hall, there's their phone number. Underneath it'll have their advisors, that kind of thing. So if you need contact information, you just search for it and you can find it on your own, and that will just help cut out the middleman. So think about when you email me, then you're gonna have to wait for me to respond, to look up the information, to send it to you. Whereas you could cut out the middleman, find it yourself, and you could find it much faster. So that way you don't have to wait for me to respond. To ask for your instructor email, if you don't know your instructor's email address, it will say it when you look at the schedule, it'll say your instructor's entire name. If you're looking for, actually, if you're looking for anybody that works at the University of Memphis, if you're looking for their email or their phone number, you can go to memphis.edu, click the search bar, and it comes up right here where it says search people. You just need to search for anybody that you're looking for. So if you put in Jamie Nobles, it's going to tell you my email address. If you're looking for Michelle Robinson, who is our new director, that's her email address. And I meant to do this earlier in the meeting, but I kind of forgot. You can tell I'm a little scatterbrained these days. Dr. Robinson is our new director. And Dr. Robinson, if you're here, would you like to take a couple minutes just to say hey to the students and let them see your face for a minute?
I just would like to say welcome to the College of Ed. We're excited to have you. I just started July 1st. I'm excited to be a Tiger, and I'll be glad when I get in the office and I can finally start seeing some of you all face to face and meeting you face to face. You are in great hands with Ms. Nobles. She takes a lot of time.
Oh, you're muted.
They couldn't hear me.
Oh, sorry. It muted you. Sorry.
Okay, let me try that again.
You said you're in good hands. You could hear the right of it.
Yeah, well, I was just telling them, welcome to the College of Ed. We're excited to have you in our programs. I look forward to campus reopening soon so that I can start meeting some of you all face to face and meeting Jamie face to face. Can you believe I have not met Ms. Nobles face to face? except for when she interviewed me back in January. So I'm looking forward just to being able to see everybody in the office. And I was telling them that you are a great advisor and that they are in great hands with you. She will take very good care of you. And if it's something that she can't answer, feel free to email me and I will try to get an answer for you. So I'm gonna be quiet so she can finish her presentation.
Thank you. So also, if you have questions about your class assignments, required books, grade changes, a copy of your syllabus, missed assignment, that all needs to come from your instructor. So as much as information as I do know, I don't know what you're learning in your class beyond what is in the catalog. So your instructor could have some sort of assignment that they're asking you to do. I'm not sure what those assignments are. The best person to always ask is going to be your instructor. If you're having a trouble in class, say you're having trouble with coursework, you're having trouble understanding, the instructor should always be your first person to go to because they're going to be your best resource. Now, if you are working with the instructor or say they're not being responsive or you're not getting an answer that is helpful, then you can always reach out to me and we can try to bridge that gap and find middle ground. But if you have questions, just, hey, I need a copy of my syllabus. I don't have access to the copy of your syllabus, but I know that if you ask your instructor, they will definitely give you a copy. So just make sure that you always go to them first. Also, if you have an academic alert, you always want to go to them first and make sure that you resolve the issue. Sometimes by the time I reach out to students, they've already resolved the issue with the academic alert. Sometimes it's just a mistake. Sometimes they were missing an assignment, but that way you stay on top of all your schoolwork. And academic alerts have not started going out yet, but they will start going out next week. So a few of you might hear from me in the next couple of weeks. Do try to find the answer for yourself. So you, like I said, you can search for information at memphis.edu. If you can't find it, then just shoot me an email and say, hey, Ms. Nobles, I've tried to find the contact information for this person, I couldn't find it. Or I was looking for this and I couldn't find it, and I'll try to find it. If I can't find it, then I'll find somebody who can find the correct information. So how do I schedule an advising appointment? Some of you are probably thinking, I already know how to do this, but some people don't know how to do this. So you need to just go to your My Memphis portal. You can click on your student tab, and click on the navigate icon, and then click on appointments. So if you go to your My Memphis account, you click your student tab. This is navigate. So if you click navigate, it's gonna sign you in. I'm not gonna log in, but on the side, it's gonna say schedule an appointment. That's all you need to do. Or if you go to any email that I've sent you, it has a link in the bottom that says click here to make an appointment. Or you can also go to memphis.edu. Here, hold on 1 second. Scoot this up so I can see. You can go to memphis.edu/TEP for teacher education program, and you can go to contact. And if you use schedule right here, you can email me if you can't find it, or you can go to advising and let's see, undergraduates, I believe. Nope, it's bachelor's of teacher education, and you can make an appointment through here. So if you can't find it, you can do that, or you can call us and our GAs will make an appointment for you. Some people have issues where for some reason, sometimes Navigate's not working or it's blocked or something like that. They can always make an appointment for you. So let me get back to this. Degree progress. How do I check my degree progress? Well, you can always go to your degree. If you go to your student My Memphis account, you go to My Degree and click on degree. If I click it, it's just gonna pull mine up. It will look like this. So this is what it'll look like. This is a fictional student, Tom Tiger. And Tom Tiger is a teaching all learners major. They're a sophomore, good GPA. You can see at the top, it's got their name, it's got their advisor listed. You can click this to open up an email that you can email me from, your classification, and if you're clear for the next semester. So this person's been cleared for fall, but not cleared for spring. Here it tells you your percentage, how much you've completed, and how many credits you have. Here will also tell you The student has 59 completed hours, needs 61 hours to reach the 120 hours. It tells you what they have already completed and what they still need. So if it has a little green check mark next to it in a grade, you've already completed it. If it is blue and it's got the little squiggle, I guess is the best way to describe that, and it's highlighted in blue, that's something that you're currently enrolled in. You can see that the student was currently enrolled in a class for summer 21 or summer 20. You can see here they still need some hours in sciences because it hasn't been checked off in green yet. And here you can see some other things that they still need. So at the bottom where it says unapplied electives, that means that these are classes like honors forum or marching band that while they still count towards your number of hours, there's no place for them on the degree sheet. So it's still an elective. You don't lose those credits. They're there, but they have no place on the degree for you to put them. So they just kind of hang out at the bottom. If you had anything that was insufficient, meaning you made a D, an F, sometimes if you withdraw, then it'll say insufficient and it'll have those things listed. And then always at the bottom will be in progress work, and there's a legend down here at the bottom if you have a question or you don't understand what the little mark next to it is. So that is your fictional Tom Tiger count. Okay. So another way to check your progress is your degree sheets. And we're going to go over the degree sheets in just a few minutes. So we'll come back to that. Junior and senior year course sequencing. This is super important. Even if you are currently going in junior one in the fall, you need to kind of listen really closely to this. And even if you're not there yet, it's important. Just make sure you pay attention. The junior and senior year courses for all the teaching licensure majors, that's teaching all learners, human development and learning, or early childhood education, whichever one you want to call it, and secondary math, the junior and senior year classes are fall stream only. If you don't take the classes as they're listed on the degree sheet, you will put yourself off track for an entire year. And that is because all freshmen through junior coursework must be completed before you start residency 1, which is your senior year. You cannot take any additional credits during residency, and that's because you are going to be too busy focusing on being in the classroom and student teaching to take additional coursework. So make sure that you take the classes in the junior and senior classes exactly as I list them out, because if not, you're going to have to delay your graduation for a year to finish up those courses because you cannot take any additional courses during residency. So what does that look like for teaching all learner majors? So the beginning stuff up here, this is all freshman level stuff right here. This is sophomore level stuff right here. Sorry, that's HTTP majors. It skipped. Hold on. There we go. Okay. The junior year classes, if you look here, and I will zoom in if it will let me so you can see it. There we go. Okay, so these junior year classes, if you are starting junior 1 in fall 2020, you should be enrolled in Literacy 4240, the ELED 3251, the ELED 3271, SPED 3803, SPED 3800, and if you haven't already taken it, ICL 4001. There are some exceptions. Sometimes people are missing like math. ICL 4001 is offered year round, so if you absolutely had to move that class, you could. However, the other classes, that's literacy through the second SPED, those classes are fall only. If you don't take those classes, then that means next fall, you may only have, say you didn't sign up for literacy, you may only have literacy to take next fall because you have to have completed those before the classes start. Can any of these classes be taken online? If they're offered online, you can, but if they're not offered online, then no. The majority of the time, these classes are not offered online because they prefer face-to-face method. They think the faculty members feel like this is the best way to teach these classes is face-to-face. especially because the junior year you start observation hours. But if they are offered, you can. I know that sometimes Lambeth does have online sections of the class. You can ask to take it through Lambeth. The majority of the time though, because if you're a Memphis student, they expect you to do your field work here. They will not allow you to take it at Lambeth. However, you can still feel free to ask if for some reason, say you're starting junior 1 this fall and you forgot to add one of these classes and it's offered online through Lambeth, you might as well shoot your shot and ask them if you can take it online through Lambeth. It's better than putting yourself a year behind for these classes. So to ask them, all you need to do is email the instructor. You just email the instructor, ask if it's okay if you add the class, ask if there's anything that you would have to come to campus for. If they say no and they let you sign up for the class, at this point you can't register yourself for classes anymore. You have to go through the registrar's office. So you'll have to fill out a late add form and you will have to have permission from the instructor to add the course. But you can still add the course if you go through the registrar's office. And they didn't tell us when that's going to stop, but I'm assuming it'll probably stop after next week. The spring classes for junior 2 are the same way. These are spring only classes. The only one that can be moved is this English 4531 class. That class is offered year round. Sometimes it's offered in the summer. Most of the time it's only offered in the fall and the spring. The other classes though, they are only in the spring. If you miss one, you will have to wait a year to take those classes. And then the senior year has to be taken exactly as it's laid out. You cannot add any additional coursework to these classes because you will be student teaching. So for HGVL majors, it's the same way. So junior 1, you need to be taking SPED 3803, ICL 4001, EDPR 4301, Literacy 4240, ECED 3555, and a family culture gender selective. Just like with teaching all learners, the the ICL 4001 class is offered fall, spring, summer. If you had to move a class, you could potentially move that class and you would still be okay. Same with the family culture gender selective. You have 3 or 4 options as far as classes. They do have options fall, summer that you could take. However, the other ones, the SPED, the EDPR, the literacy, the ECED class, they are fall only. If you are not enrolled in those classes right now and you are in the junior 1 for those classes, shoot me an email. We're gonna have to, find you somewhere to get into those classes. The spring classes are the same way. So the ones that are in bold, the ECED classes, are spring only. The ICL 4000 or ICL 3333 class is offered year round. However, it makes the most sense for you to just take it with your junior 2 classes. And then the senior year classes, you take 14 hours in the fall, 12 hours in the spring, and you can't take any additional coursework during those classes. Secondary math is a little bit special. So secondary math has a lot of classes that you have to take at specific times. Because the math is sequenced so specifically, it's really easy to get off track in the secondary math major because you have to have calculus 1 before you can have calculus 2, and you have to have calculus 2 and you have to have calculus 2 and math. What is this? Intro to proofs and fundamental maths, which is 2702, before you can move on to the junior year classes. Once you get into the junior year classes, those are all fall only classes except for the English class. That class, like I said, with the other majors, it is offered pretty much year round. The next semester, every single one of those classes is a spring only class. You have to take those classes in the spring. And then the same thing with the senior year. You can't take any additional classes during residency. You need to take 14 hours in that fall semester, 12 hours in the spring. And then you will be done. I know there's not that many secondary math majors, but I want to make sure we cover everybody. Okay, so some of you probably already know this stuff, but we're going to go over it real quick anyway. So admissions to TEP. So TEP stands for the Teacher Education Program. Just because you're admitted to the University of Memphis does not mean that you're admitted to the teacher education program. Just because your major is education does not mean you're admitted to the teacher education program. So it's a little bit different. You have to apply, and we expect that you apply by the end of your sophomore year, beginning of your junior year, so that we know you can move on to the junior 2 classes, because those classes are restricted. To be admitted, you need 3 things. You need an overall GPA of a 2.75. I would say that a good bit of the majority of you have that already, but if you don't, just know that you need to keep working up to that 2.75 GPA. You need a background check. You need either an ACT of a 21, or you need to have the Praxis Core, which is reading, writing, and math, passed. Or if you took the ACT, you can have a combined, SAT. If you have an SAT, you can have a combined score of 1020. We are now, it's not on here, but we are now going to allow people to submit a super score for ACT. If you don't know what a super score is say you've attempted the ACT multiple times, we take your best score from each subsection, we add them together, and then we create a new composite for you. So your best composite may be a 20, but if you add together all of your best sections, your super score may be a 21 or 22, which means that you wouldn't need to take the Praxis Core. So if you have taken the ACT multiple times, just make sure that you send us all of your scores for the ACT so we can calculate what it is. Now, if you're very far away, like a 17 or 18, it's no matter what your score is, probably not going to get up to that 21, but if you want us to calculate it for you, I will definitely do that for you, because I've had a couple of people where I've been able to contact them and say, hey, your super score is a 21, you don't need to take the Praxis Core, which is awesome because it's going to save you money. But you can also retake the ACT if you want to, instead of taking the Praxis Core. I know the ACT is much cheaper. ACT is about $50, whereas the Praxis Core is a minimum of $150, so that's a big difference. The ACT, the company ACT was supposed to start letting people take individual subtests this September. COVID kind of ruined that for everybody. So now they are still only offering the standard test where you take all 4 subsections at the same time. However, if you're a freshman right now, in the future, say like next year, whenever COVID decides to go away, you will probably be able to take the ACT individually. So if you wanted to just retake science, you could just retake science. If you wanted to just retake English, you could just retake English. Especially if there was a specific area that you know that you could get much higher in, then we could potentially take that and combine it with your best subsections from your other ones and create a new composite score for you that would be a 21 or higher. And if that's confusing and you have more questions about super score, just feel free to email me. I know it can be a little bit confusing. Typically, students have to be admitted to TEP prior to starting junior 2. Now, keep in mind that in the fall, registration starts in November. So what you really want is to be admitted before November, so that when November rolls around, you can sign up for your spring classes. So that way you get the best pick of the schedule, you get your classes when you want them to be. However, this fall 2020 cohort, so I'm just talking to people starting junior 1 this fall, you will have until March of 21 to be able to be admitted to TEP. And that is specifically due to COVID. This only applies to this particular cohort, and that is for teaching all learners, secondary math, and HGDL. So if you are a junior 1 this fall, you have until March. However, future students, people who are not going into junior 1 this fall, you will normally have until November. Let's see. Will you receive an official letter of admission once you've completed those requirements? Yes, that is such a good point, Lainey. Thank you. So Miss Lofties is our TEP coordinator. She has been out of the office for a little over a month and a half now. And so if you have submitted an application, I promise we have received it, and she's going to be back on September 1st. And that is going to be her top priority, is making sure to go through those applications and send you your admissions letter. We just haven't been able to send those out because she's been out, and that is her, she has access to send out those letters and to enter TP codes. So we do have them. I'm keeping a running list of everybody who has submitted them. So I promise we're keeping up with them for you, but we just haven't been able to send out the admissions letters yet. But they're coming in the next couple of weeks. So we're gonna work on that, I promise. All right, so Praxis exams. So a lot of people get confused about Praxis exams. If I say, oh, your ACT is a 21, you don't have to take the Praxis Core. That's awesome. What I didn't say was that you don't have to take any Praxis exams. Every single student, regardless of which teaching licensure major you are in, will have to take a Praxis exam at some point. Let me talk this real quick. Do you have to take the Praxis before you apply to the TP? If you need to take the Praxis Core, you cannot be admitted to TP without having either an ACT of 21 or higher, or all 3 parts of the Praxis Core passed. You have to have one or the other. You can go ahead and apply. We'll keep your application on file. You just can't be admitted. So you can fill out the application. Let's see. So there are, like I said, there are 2 different kinds. There's the Praxis Core, which is a requirements test that has 3 subtests, like I said, reading, writing, and math. This is for you to be admitted. This is taking just a TP. This is taking place of the ACT score that is required. However, everybody has to take Praxis II content knowledge exams. These exams are what let the state know that you have the skills to teach this specific area. You cannot be licensed if you don't have your passing scores in your required Praxis areas. So if you need to find a list of which exams are needed for licensure, because they do change, you can go to ets.org/praxis/tn/requirements, or you can just go to the ETS website, and if you click on Praxis, there's a little drop-down box that says the requirements for my state, and click Tennessee. And that will tell you what they are. Keep in mind, if you're a junior 1, or if you're going into residency 1, the teaching reading test is changing for both teaching all learners majors and for HGBL majors. You will be expected to take the new test after August 31st, which is Monday. So if you have not taken and passed the teaching reading exam and you are supposed to have that done by this December, make sure that you take the new one and not the old one. And you can find more information about the Praxis on our website too. Let's see. Now, I will say that teaching all learners majors, you have 3 exams to pass. You have the elementary content knowledge, you have teaching reading, and then you have a special education test. The human development and learning, you have 3. You have early childhood education, that is changed, that is new, so make sure that you check that out. Teaching reading, you have to take the new one, and you have to have another early childhood exam. So you have 3. Secondary math only has 1. You only have to take 1 Praxis, but I will say it is a doozy. So make sure that you're studying for that. Even though you're only taking the 1 exam, it is still difficult to pass. So make sure that you're looking at that. So what is self-advising? So self-advising is when you already know what classes you need to take and you want to complete the self-advising form rather than scheduling an individual meeting. So the people that we typically ask to self-advise are the people who don't have any options. For example, I'm going to scroll back up real quick to say say you're currently in residency 1 for secondary math. In the spring, you have 2 choices of classes, not choices, you have 2 requirements that you have to take. You have to take ICL 4904 and you have to take ICL 4800. Those are the only options. Those are the only classes you can take. So you can fill out the self-advising form and just list those 2 classes and keep going. You don't have to schedule a face-to-face appointment. Now you can if you want to, but you don't have to and you don't need to. Once you complete the form is a DocuSign form, and I'll pull it up in a second so you can see it. Once you complete it, it's automatically emailed to me, and then I will review the form, I'll clear your pen for registration. I'll confirm that those are the only classes that you need. And I will send you an email saying, hey, Caroline, I got your form. These are the classes that you need. I agree with what you listed. Let me know if you need anything else. You're clear for registration. And that's it. Now, if you have any other additional questions, you can always just email me or call me, but that would take the place of our face-to-face meeting. If you have any other like additional questions or you have any issues that crop up, we can always schedule another individual meeting, but we ask for people who are going into Junior 2, Residency 1 or Residency 2 to fill out the self-advising form rather than the face-to-face meeting, just so that way we do have time for other students who do need that face-to-face individual time. Not to say that you can't schedule those, it's just that we want you to schedule those meetings when you want to talk about something other than what classes to take. Because if you come in and you say, hey, what classes to take? And I just say those two and you turn around and leave, that's less than 5 minutes. So there's no need for you to create that appointment. So if you come in, we want to talk about some other things like how are your classes going? We're going to want to talk about what are your career goals, that kind of stuff. So if you have those questions, then we would definitely want to have an individual appointment. Let's see, when going into Junior 2, well, we need to be accepted to the TEP program before registering. If you are currently going to start Junior 1 this fall, like I said, you have until March to be admitted. If you are not going into Junior 1 this fall, everybody else, so if your cohort is going to be fall 21 or later, you're going to have to be admitted by November to register for classes. But everybody who is in Junior 1 this fall will be cleared for registration, even if they haven't been admitted to TEP for Junior 2. We will have to list those. So if you don't pass the Praxis Core, how will that affect you? If you don't pass the Praxis Core, you have until March to get it passed. If you are going into Junior 1 this fall, going into Junior 2 in the spring, if you don't pass it, period, then you won't be able to move forward in the program. That is a requirement for our program. You have to pass that or have a 21 on the ACT. So if you get to a certain point in the program and you haven't passed it, then we will either have to delay your graduation until you have passed it and you can move forward with classes, or we'll talk about changing your major to something else. Now, we don't always have to have those conversations. Sometimes people will decide that they want to take their time and take a year and try to finish up that test before they move on. So they may add a minor or something like that so that they can keep taking classes and maybe try to get ahead in the program a little bit. But if you do get to March and you haven't passed the Praxis Core and you're in Junior 2, we will have to see on a case-by-case basis what we will need to do moving forward. Let's see. You apply last semester. Yes, so your application is still on file. You just need to send Miss Lofty's an email and say that you've already applied. You now meet the requirement for the GPA, the Praxis Core, whatever it is, and ask her if she will update your file. So if you apply, somebody asked earlier, can you apply before you pass the Praxis Core? Yes, you can definitely do that. But Miss Lofty's isn't going to go back and check your Praxis Core scores because she's going to have moved on to something different. So if you want her to go back and check and see that you have met that requirement and can be admitted, you just shoot her an email and say, hey, I applied a while ago. I've now met this requirement. Can you please admit me? And she will update it for you. You don't have to fill out a whole new thing. I know the Praxis gives you a lot of anxiety. I didn't take the Praxis Core, but I have taken Praxis Exams. It is very nerve-wracking, and I completely understand it. Keep in mind that the ETS, the Educational Testing Service, is still doing at-home. Yes, Madison, I will send it in the chat. Thank you. I'm going to put Ms. Lofty's email in the chat just in case y'all need it. So it is at memphis.edu. But yes, I completely understand being afraid of the Praxis exams. You just got to make sure that you study, and we have plenty of resources for the Praxis Core, and we have 242 for the Praxis II exams. So if you need more information about that, I'll find it. Where do you find the application form for TEP? You can find the application form at, if you go to memphis.edu/TEP and you click on admissions to TEP, it is right here. So this is an explanation of the TEP information. This is where you get your background check. If you need a background check, you click here for the undergraduate application. And this is for graduate students, so you don't need that information. That's pretty much it. You just fill out the DocuSign, it's automatically emailed to Ms. Lofty. So let's see. If you don't know that you sent in your TEP application, you can always just email Ms. Lofty's, or you can email me and I can check and see if I see one. Now they do automatically go to her, so if she hasn't printed it in, then I won't be able to see it. So usually it's best to email her, but since she's out right now, just email it to me and I'll check for you. Okay, so go back to this. Okay, so like I said, we would like for people who are going into Junior 2, Residency 1, Residency 2 to complete the self-advising form. That way, if you do schedule an an individual meeting, we can talk about a little bit more information other than what classes are you taking. That way we can kind of go into more in-depth advising about personal things. Let's see. The only people who can't do self-advising are students who are on probation, returning from suspension, recently readmitted, recently changed their major to education, like you haven't been advised by me before, or student athletes. The student athlete thing, that's not our rule, that is the university's rule. You cannot be self-advised. You have to make an advising appointment. Other than that, most people can be self-advised. How do you find the self-advising form? So if you go to the TEP website, like we were on a minute ago, and you go to advising and go to undergraduate advising forms, these are all of the forms that I control. So change of major form, add drop form for your minor, self-advising form, tells you how to complete DocuSign form. You just click the link, fill it out, it's automatically emailed to me. And this is what it looks like. It is just has first, last name. You have to acknowledge that you know that you have to meet certain requirements. You put your classes in, you sign it, you date it, you send it back. All of that's electronic and it's super easy. Yes, the recording will be sent out to everybody because there are people who weren't able to come today. So we will send that out to everyone. If you already did a background check, do you need another one? Now, this is a tricky question. It depends. I wish I could say something more than that, but if you are going to be in a placement for a Shelby County school, so a school in Shelby County School District, they require you to get one every 6 months. However, if you are outside of the Shelby County School District, in say like Bartlett, somewhere like that, then you do not have to get one every 6 months. They will say on record for 5 years. Why is Shelby County different? I don't know, because those are their rules. So if you got one for a Shelby County for placement and it's been more than 6 months and you're going to another placement for Shelby County schools, yes, you will have to get another one. I know that's annoying. They are $35, which isn't a ton of money, but if you keep paying it, it does add up. So I completely understand that. Where do you get Praxis Core test resources? So if you go back to memphis.edu, I'm telling you, memphis.edu/TEP will save you a lot of headaches. Right here where it says take action, you just go to Praxis Exams. This tells you information about how to get to ETS, the codes. Make sure that when you take the Praxis, you always want to have it sent to the Department of Education for the state of Tennessee and the University of Memphis. That way you automatically get it. If you do it later, you're gonna have to pay for it. And you already have to give them way too much money. So don't do that and have to pay for it again later. Study resources, you click right here. This is for the Praxis Core. Tells you about free online resources for ETS, teacher's test prep. These are all different YouTube videos broken down by different subjects, library resources that are free, test taking tips, frequently asked questions, and that is everything that's on here. 240 Tutoring is not listed on here, but if you have questions about 240 Tutoring, 240 Tutoring is a subscription service that we pay for. It does not cost you anything. It is good for the Praxis Core and for the Praxis II exams. If you want access to that, all you have to do is you can email Kelsey. Well, you can email Kelsey. Let me put that in here. For Praxis 240 Tutoring, you can email Kelsey Morgan, is Ms. Boobrig's graduate assistant, and her email is kmorgan9@memphis.edu. You can email her, or you can email me if you can't remember her email, and I'll give it to you. Not a big deal. Let's see. Okay, so this is really just questions. I've answered some of the questions that are in here. I'm going to double check real quick to see if there's anything that I missed that's in here, or if y'all want to drop some more questions in there, or if you want to, you know, speak, you can do that too. So let me look. I don't think there's anything. Like I said, yes, we will be sending the Zoom recording out to everybody because a lot of the residency students couldn't be here. And there's just other people who had classes, that kind of thing. When should you submit the self-advising forms? You can submit it now if you want to. I've already cleared about 15 people for spring who've already done the self-advising form. So if you want to go ahead and fill it out and send it to me, you can definitely go ahead and do that. You are taking, if you're not going into Junior 2, Residency 1 or Residency 2, we don't have a schedule yet, so we don't know exactly what classes are going to be offered in the spring, but there are certain classes that are offered pretty much year round. So I'll be able to advise you pretty accurately. Are they still offering Praxis online? Yes, they are still offering the Praxis online. So if you want to do the Praxis at home, you can still do that. There are certain testing centers open. Now, I'm not sure that the testing center on campus is open yet. You can call and see, but I don't think that they are. There are some that are open. I think the one in Cordova is open now. But you can also, if you don't want to have to go anywhere, you can sign up and take it at home. Let's see, if you change your major over the summer. No, if I already advised you over the summer, you don't have to make a regular appointment if you don't want to. You can just do the self-advising form, or you can make an irregular appointment, either one. Let's see, if you take the Praxis combined and you don't pass one part, do you just take that specific section again or the whole combined test? That's the question. A lot of people have this, they take the entire test, which is all 3 parts, reading, writing, and math together, and say you pass reading and writing, but you don't pass math. That's okay. You just go and pay and just take the math section. Don't take the whole test over again. If you fail 2 out of 3 sections though, it is cheaper technically to pay and retake the entire test than it is to take them individually. However, you might score better if you take them individually. It is $90 a piece to take the individual test, which means instead of paying $150 for all 3, if it's 90, 90, 90, that's going to be $270 overall. However, if you have a lot of time, so say you have about a year that you have to have it passed, it might make more sense for you to split it up and say, I'm going to take this test now, this test later, this test later. So even though it is $270, it doesn't feel like it's $270. Let's see. Which Praxis did you say that Junior 1 has to take by December? So none of the Junior 1 students have to take anything by December. You can take one of your Praxis 2 exams or a Praxis 1 exam by December, but you don't have to. If you need to take the Praxis Core, you have until next semester. If you don't need to take the Praxis Core, so you've already passed the Praxis Core, or you have an ACT of 21 or higher, and you want to start taking your content knowledge exams, you can go ahead and do that. Once you've taken the majority of your Junior 1 classes, that first semester, you can go ahead and start taking your Praxis II exams if you want to. I personally would go ahead if I was, actually, if I was in Teaching All Learners or if I was in HDBL, at the end of my junior 1 semester, if I didn't need to take the Praxis Core, I would go ahead and take the Praxis II exam for the teaching reading, because the teaching reading exam only covers K through 4, and the Literacy 4240 class that you take in the fall only covers literacy K through 4. So once you finish that class, before the information is all gone out of your head, I would go ahead and study for and take that test and get it out of the way so that the spring semester I could just focus on the other 2. Let's see. Do I have any new information about the junior 1 observation hours? Girl, I wish. I know SES is all online, and didn't know if there's any more information. Your guess is as good as mine. I know that Ms. Bubrig, if you are teaching all learners, Ms. Bubrig is supposed to have an orientation where she's going to tell you more about that. They are still finding placements for people, and it is difficult at this time, but they are still going to work and find you all placements. But no, I don't have any information right now. You should be getting an email soon letting you know when the junior 1 orientation is, so that you will be able to sign up for a placement. Let's see, if we are enrolled in junior 2 courses next semester and haven't passed our courses by March, did you mention that? So Addison, you might just have to email me. That sounds like a very specific instance. So Addison, if you could just send me an email and ask me specifically what you're asking, I can help you out. Let's see. Do you know if the tests are similar? So which tests, Maritza, are you asking about? Are you asking about the new Praxis II content knowledge exams versus the old one? Just let me know in the chat and I can answer that. Let's see. If you go to the ETS website, it gives you a breakdown of the classes. Yeah, if you go to the ETS website and you look up the test codes, it does have a very good breakdown of exactly what percentage is going to be covered for each thing. So if I were you, I would go and look. It does give you kind of an overview with a pie chart that says this many questions are going to be about this, this many questions are going to be about this. Now, I took the Praxis II in secondary English. So my Praxis II exam, when I went to look at it, it said, you need to know this huge list of authors and all of their works. At least it gave me somewhere to start, so I knew where I needed to go and what I needed to study. Let's see. Where do we find our spring classes for junior 2? Those are the ones that are listed on the degree sheet. You need to take those classes exactly as they're listed on the degree sheet, or you can go to your UM degree and it says pre-residency and it lists the classes that you need. Let's see. Are there study resources for the Praxis content knowledge exams for teaching reading? Yes, there are. There's the 240 tutoring that I mentioned, and there are some that you can pay for that are on the ETS website. And I will pull that up in just a second. Let's see. Maritza says ACT versus Praxis. Okay, so the ACT is cheaper, like I said, and you're already more comfortable with it because you've taken it before. Versus the Praxis, you can take it individually instead of taking it all together. As far as the material, if I were you, I would go and look at the Praxis exams on the ETS website, and it shows you a breakdown of exactly what's on it. So let me show you real quick on the ets.org/Praxis website. If you go here and you go to state testing requirements, and if some of you, if you have class and you need to leave, I completely understand. This is still going to be recorded and I will upload it. So you go to the Tennessee requirements, and this is all of the information about the Department of Ed for Tennessee, testing requirements, all that kind of thing. So state requirements, what are my requirements? If you want to be able to teach elementary education, you need to take these exams. However, because our program is special, you need to take this and you need to take one of the special education exams. Let me see, where's it at? So it's on our list of which one you need to take. It's going to be the interventionalist, this one, the mild to moderate. So it's a little bit different for those teaching all learners students. If you want to know what's going to be on the exam, you can click on the exam that's required, and you can click the study companion. Now the study companion, it's long. I would not suggest printing it out. However, if you look at it on here, this tells you teaching reading elementary exam. It's going to be 150 minutes long. There's 90 select response questions, 3 constructed response, which means you're going to have to type. Tells you the exact breakdown, how much is going to be phonics, how much is going to be decoding, how much is going to be fluency. That way you can kind of see the breakdown of it. And it tells you test specifications. This is all of the stuff you need to be able to understand. You can look at that for every single test. Then if you want something else to study, I would suggest the interactive practice test. Now, you do have to pay for them if you go to buy now. There is one of these for all of the exams. But the interactive practice test is really great. That's what I studied when I was studying for my Praxis exams. It sets up exactly on your computer the same way you're going to be tested on it on the day. You can sit down, you can carve out, if it says you have 150 minutes to pass the test, you can set a timer for 150 minutes. You can take the test, and when you get done, it scores it and it'll tell you what you would have made. So then you can know, would you have passed that test if that was the real test? And you can also look and see what you didn't do well on, because it does give you a breakdown of this is what you didn't do well. So that way you know, okay, I'm good with this, but this is what I need to focus on. It helped me a lot, for real. I think that was probably like the best thing that I took. Now, it is $20. You do have a 90-day subscription though, so you can take it again. And the best part about it is that not only does it tell you the right answer, it tells you why it's the right answer. Doesn't just say this is the correct answer. It gives you an explicit instructions about this is specifically why this is the right one. All right, so that they have that for each one. I would go and look at it for all of them if you have the ability to do that. Let's see. Can I go over self-advising again? Sure. The self-advising, like I said, you just go to the form, go to memphis.edu/p, click on advising, click undergraduate forms, select the self-advising form, type in all the information you need, and then you hit submit. It will automatically email it to me. I will be able to review it, and I can tell you what classes you need, so I can say, I agree with what you listed, or no, I disagree with what you listed, and why. And to find out that information, you can just go to your My Memphis account, like your UM degree, or you can go to, where is it? You can look at your degree sheet and mark off the classes you know that you've already taken. Does the subscription give you access to only that section? So yes, so if you wanted to pay for the interactive practice test for this, it would only give you this interactive practice test. Now, some of the other ones have more. Let me go back and use another one as an example. So like the elementary multiple subjects. If you want to buy one for each of them, you can do a value pack. Now I would do, you can see how it says value pack form 1, value pack form 2, form 3, etc. I would always choose whatever the last form is, whether that be form 3, form 5, form 7, whatever, because whatever the last one is going to be the newest retired test. So this test is from February 2018. So that means that the questions that are on this test are going to be the closest to what you're tested on. Whereas if you look at form 1, it's from 2014. 2014 was 6 years ago. So if I was going to have to pick one, I would pick whatever the last form is, so it's the newest retired test, because there are still probably questions that are very similar, if not almost the same, on this test as there are on the other one. Because remember, the interactive practice test is a retired test. This is a test that they've given in the past. So I would choose whatever the last form is if you want to spend the money on it. Now, keep in mind, you're also paying for the Praxis exams in general, and they are expensive. And I swear I know it's another $20, $30 unless you do the multiple pack, which is $50. I swear it was super helpful though. I personally, I think that was the best thing I used to study. Now, I didn't have access to something like 240 tutoring though. I know that people who have used 240 tutoring have said that it was very helpful. So if you want something that's free, that we pay for, that you don't have to pay for, sign up for the 240 tutoring. I don't think that SPED test is on there though. I could be wrong about that. You might have to ask Kelsey Morgan, but if you need access to 240 tutoring, you have to have registered for the test first because the subscription is only good for 30 days. So that's the other thing about the interactive practice test. You do have to pay for it, but you get it for 90 days. 240 tutoring is only good for 30 days because you're meant to work on it every day for 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, you go take your tests and you're done. But 240 tutoring does have diagnostic exams. So you have an initial exam that you take. It tells you, these are the things you're good at. These are the things you need to work on. And then it does break down the tutoring that's more specific to you. So if your test is on 240 tutoring, I would suggest using it if that's something that you're interested in. Okay, so I think we're a little bit over time. I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye unless there's anything that's super pressing. If not, just shoot me an email if you have any questions. I'm gonna send this out hopefully on Monday to everybody. So it's gonna have the presentation in it and it'll have the recording too. So if you have any questions between now and then, just email me. Keep in mind though, our office hours are 8 a.m. to 4:30. So if it's after that, a weekend, a holiday, something like that, we'll get back to you on Monday when we get to check our email again. So have a great weekend. I will see you all. Please be safe. Please be healthy. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Have a good day. All right. Bye.